Hi there. Mm, well, if you made it to this video, you've been feeling the energy. You've been feeling the frequency, the transmission of ravenous. Ravenous came to me as I was working with my coach and mentor and just feeling like, what is it right now at this time that the feminine really, really, really need? And it's no more fluff. It's no more thinking. It's deep, deep, deep experiencing of herself. And even more, it's deep, deep, deep experiencing of her desire. And it came out as I was like, what's up right now in the world is this ravenous hunger. This ravenous hunger for true transformation. And everything that's ill in our world at this moment in time is up for discussion, is up for transmutation. And for so long, we've all been conditioned by the masculine operating system that has kept things under control. Its main goal is to keep things enforced, to keep things energy neutral, to keep things safe, to be protective. Whereas the feminine is anything but that. And if you don't have a play between this masculine container wanting to keep everything under control and protected, and this wild burst of the feminine who is energy and love herself, filling the entire space with incredible transformative energy and desire, then things will just go back to being the same. And so anyone that's on this transmission with me and is feeling the pull and feeling the call, you know in your soul, you know in your body, and you know in those places of sensation where it really counts, that there's no way in hell you're going to allow our world to go back to what it was before. As much as the masculine in you wants stability and safety and certainty again, you know there's a bigger calling that you don't want to do it the way it was. So, you know, my role as a chiropractor, my identity as a chiropractor for almost, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years now has been around this model that was very masculine. And as I've been working with people in my practice, what has really come up over the years is to really soften our defense postures, right? Which are basically like when you're scared, your body's like, that's defense. And then when you realize that you're not scared anymore, your body is supposed to go, oh, okay, that was just a cat, not a mountain lion. Okay, everything's fine. But we don't do that. We're like, oh God, that was a mountain lion. I guess it's a cat. I got to go to work. I got to go take care of the kids. I got to pay the bills. I got to make sure I make that phone call before 6 o'clock to the bank. And we stay in this defense posture. And so as a chiropractor, that's what I study, are these defense strategies that happen in our nervous system that we repeat over and over and over again, because our nervous system works with whatever is the most energy efficient for it. And so if a pattern is repeated over and over and over, it's the most energy efficient, and your nervous system will resort to that all the time until something better and more efficient comes along. So that has been my gig. And while working with all genders, what I have noticed is if we allow more feminine to come through our nervous systems, which is like a more softening, more presence, more flow, more curiosity, then the nervous system actually responds and changes. And so there's like this interplay of masculine and feminine in the human operating system that is vital. And when we're running on mostly masculine, we get wiped out because masculine is the structure that holds. Feminine is the energy that fills. And without the energy, there isn't change. So there's that. And my why for Ravenous is like within myself for the past decade, I have been breaking down my training and conditioning, which is based in compliance with the rules of a masculine operating system, which doesn't allow me to be wild. It doesn't allow me to have my own thoughts. It doesn't allow me to flow. It doesn't allow me to have emotions that are outside of like the safe zone. It doesn't allow me to have curves of movement. It doesn't allow me to really move at all, right? The masculine operating system is very stiff. And we need both. So over the years, I've been unplugging from being dominant in the masculine operating system and opening more energy and flow for myself. And as I've been working in my practice, like allowing and helping and supporting my practice members to do the same thing. And where the pain started to show up for me was, I mean, right now I can think of like 20 very vivid experiences with women in my practice. And as you know, or don't most of you know that you've been in my practice, my relationships with every single human being that come into my practice are very deep and very detailed and very specific. And I don't let anyone into my practice until I know their complete history of physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, chemical trauma that they've had in their lives. We're not just there to like move a bone. I'm there to actually integrate their whole life with the coherent energy that's appropriate for each part of their life. And so vividly, 20, I'm sure maybe more, if I thought for a minute, women in my practice just couldn't make the changes in their lives, and they were their own worst enemy because it was their mind and their limitations to what's available and what's possible that created rigidity in the nervous system and a limitation to their potential. And so an offshoot of what started happening in my practice was like individual coaching with women, and then it turned into group coaching with women, then it turned into retreats with women and group programs with women. And to be honest, all of that's happened so far was definitely like a needed foundation, but honestly it was like kindergarten, first grade level. And what's needed right now is like beyond that. It's beyond the educational system. It's outside of the grid that we're used to. And that's why Ravenous right now is so important to us. If you're here and you're feeling it, the yes must come from that, because I'm not on here to answer the masculine questions and keep you trapped in your mind. The masculine operating system wants to know, how much is it going to cost? What am I going to learn? What am I going to get? How much time is it going to take? All of these questions that take you out of feeling the experience of ravenous. So I've been getting questions and emails from everyone wanting to know those answers. And trust me, my masculine is so tempted to just answer all of those questions. But I know it's not in service to you. It's not in service to the opening of the feminine. So just this week, I had an experience with my man where we hit the limit of frustration and just furious with each other, so angry, so disconnected from one another. And like all the tension that's going on in the world was just up for us. And we just were not seeing eye to eye. We were not connected. There was, ugh. And we fought and fought and fought all day. And then I came over here to my practice and was doing some yoga and some meditation and some embodiment work. And he came over here, and the whole time at our house, I was really like doing my very best to stay in the openness of the feminine and not get hooked with the masculine wanting to know the answers, and not get hooked with, like this back and forth bickering kind of thing. Just like, okay, asking myself, like, all right, what is the deeper truth here? What is the deeper truth I'm in service to? Right? I'm in service to understanding the needs of my man right now. I'm in service to resolution through going through the muck that it takes to grow, right? I'm in service to holding the fire, which is uncomfortable, so that I can change, so that we can change together eventually. If I went up to like my upper chakras and just started and fighting with him, none of what I'm in service to, which is the ripening that happens when our shells come off and we're like together, and there's like this ripening together that leads to a change that would never happen if I was just thinking about what I wanted. That's what I'm in service to. So wasn't happening. And, it's easy to fall into that pattern. He was waiting for me to fall into that pattern. I was waiting for myself to fall into that pattern. Instead, I was like, at this moment, this is going nowhere. We both know it. Do you agree? Yes. Do I agree? Yes. Okay. I'm going to go take care of my body. So I came over here and took care of myself and did some yoga and connected and went deep and cried and just felt like the frustration that I was feeling. And then he came here unexpectedly and was like, I don't want to leave where we left off. I want more. And so I was like, awesome. Let me drop everything I'm doing and be here for you. Totally present. And I will tell you, it was so challenging to stay present when I didn't particularly like most of what he was saying. And like the way that his essence was wanting to penetrate into me in places that would cause hurt and pain. There was like not an allowance for that. And, I've definitely been open for that. I'm sure you've been open for that too, right? Where you're like, all your triggers, your partner says all the right things to make you just feel so crappy, and like they know exactly where to hurt you and exactly where to put the key in and exactly how to twist it to like, really damage your self-esteem and your self-worth and your embodiment. And so I knew that was coming, and it's not any fault of his. It's like, the conditioning that we're all in, waiting for that, right? And so each time I felt that coming toward me, I took a breath, I paused, I softened my body, and I stayed present for him. And the more that came, the more I just stayed present for him. And I stayed present for the deepest truth, which is getting underneath all the layers to that moment when we can pierce each other and hold that and grow. So I'll tell you that for about 30 minutes, there was this conversation that was like, da, 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 da. And I was like, I hear you. I know there's more. Da, 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 da. I understand what you're saying. Let me repeat it to you. You're frustrated because da, 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 da. Is that true for you? Yes, but there's more. I hear you. Let me repeat it to you and you tell me, is it accurate? The more I created a vacuum for him to come in toward me, the more I stayed soft and fluid and feminine, the more it triggered the crap out of that masculine that just wanted to make me small, make me quiet, numb me out, make me depressed, whatever it was, until there was nothing left of me and then he could prevail. I know you felt that because it's so freaking common. So I stayed. I continued to stay. I continued to stay. I continued to stay. And it was so uncomfortable. And there was parts of me that were like, why am I doing this? This is such a waste of time. I'm ready now to get triggered and to fight back. And I didn't. I resisted. And there were definitely some moments of mutual like penetration into the depth and mostly frustration. And then he left. I got home, I went to bed in the morning, I woke up, he came in the room and he was like, wow. Oh, before he left, I said, do you feel like we accomplished anything? Because to me, you know, each time I paused and he dropped down and came in to meet me, like all this like subtle transformation was happening between the two of us. These walls and doors and habits of communication were coming down, but nothing was said. You know, it wasn't like this overt thing like, oh wow, look, it changed. It was in the subtle fields, which when you train your feminine, you become really aware of your subtle fields. And I will help you with that in Ravenous. And so in the morning, when he left, he said, I don't think anything got accomplished here. And he stormed out. And I sat there and I was like, shit. I really thought so much had changed. And, you know, I really felt like we met somewhere that we've never met before. And in the morning, he woke me up and was like, you are a goddess. I don't know what kind of magic you did yesterday, but I love you and appreciate you more than ever today. And I appreciate you holding a standard of our conversation. And I appreciate you for holding a standard of our relationship, that you're holding this standard of not letting us be less than the amazing humans that we are. And basically holding a standard for our love, holding a standard for our like romance to be hot and passionate and on and present, and holding a standard that if I'm feeling an emotion in any moment, that I can let him know. It's my job to let him know, because the masculine isn't really going to experience the benefit of the range of emotion, like on a biochemical level and every other way of emotions, unless the feminine shows the masculine like what's going on. Now, most masculine will not be ready for that, will close down and go unconscious. But like, you know, my man did. And he still will, because that is the masculine. They'll go unconscious. But if you go unconscious with them, you lose the relationship. If you hold you hold the standard of presence, and that you know that your emotions are valuable to the relationship. And they are like, when you are approving and disapproving through your emotions, then it begins to shape the relationship and how the masculine, which is the holder and the container and the form, can hold you. So it's so important in a relationship to learn these things that we'll do in Ravenous that help you stay true to you. Because the masculine model causes a woman to numb out, to go depressed, and to shut down and dull out. And then we do it, our masculine does it to ourselves, and we reinforce it over and over and over until we are in a group of women that support each other to become vulnerable enough that the walls just have to come down, the walls of defense crack off and crack away, and we see the radiance in another woman turned on by her desire. And that is how we transform our relationships into something that is a growing, living, alive experience. That we don't just fall in love with somebody and then we fall into a pit of expectation, like it's always going to be like up, it's always going to be that way. And another place where ravenous, the energy, the frequency of ravenous is also like, can help you create in your life, like the money, the things you want to attract, the career, those types of things. Because when you are connected and you're listening to your deep desire versus living in a world of protection, you can start to conjure more money, conjure more of what you truly want. And it really does take practice, and it takes practicing it together with other women that are practicing it too, to literally give you the permission to say, oh, I can dream that big. I can desire that big. I can ask for something that big. Because I'll tell you, like, even in my own relationship, it used to be I would dream big and it would scare the crap out of my man. And then he'd be like, it pains me when you talk about those things because we don't have the money and we don't have the time and we don't have the whatever. And so that's the masculine protecting the feminine, trying to keep her small, right? And we do that to ourselves, like, oh, Stephanie, like, you have no business dreaming about, a yacht when you don't even have a dinghy. That's the masculine speaking, because the feminine can just be like, oh man, what is it right now? Like, I desire like an incredible spa day where I'm getting like rubbed down by like 8 different people, like one on my feet, one on my ears, one on my scalp, one on my breasts, one on my thighs, one rubbing my tummy, another pouring oil on my body. Like, what else do I desire? I desire like I desire to just have enough wealth and enough health that I don't actually think of those things when I'm creating my day, that my day is led by just like these juicy elements of like what I want to attract, who I'm being, who I'm with, where I am, what kind of like wild vacations do I want to go on to the Maldives and to Tahiti. And feel how that raised the vibration, just that. Just that. A woman's desire is at the center of her energy. And so when a woman is connected to her desire, the energy that fuels your health also is liberated. A woman that's disconnected from her desire is mostly unhealthy, depressed, sick, gets flus and coughs and colds more easily. A woman connected to her desire has more of an overflow, a reserve of energy. And so when, she comes into contact with, a bug or a bacteria or a virus, she has more vitality on tap that she doesn't get taken down. And if you look around in, just your friend group, just see like, who is it that like kind of like doesn't seem to get sick that much? Who is it that doesn't have like a sore back or a sore neck? And those are typically the people that are literally turned on most of the time, because your turn on gives you like a reserve tank that your body taps into all the time, and you don't have to think about where you're going to get your energy from. You have a reserve tank. So in Ravenous, we'll be working a lot with turn on in terms of your health. And then service and contribution is a natural like product of being connected to that ravenous energy. So I'm not going to tell you the details of Ravenous so much, but I will tell you that there's going to be 6 sort of portals that we go into, 6 frequencies. And I can tell you a little bit about what they are without telling you in detail what we'll be doing. So I hope that like gives you enough to come forward for more. Each portal is we're going to have a lesson. So we'll be doing like a lesson on each one and an actual group coaching call. And it's not about trolling, it's about participation. So I'm going to expect you to really participate. If you can't participate, there's other offerings that I'll be doing that you can, join into. But this is a really specific container that is going to require participation. And the main thing that you must be part of is on Wednesdays from 12 to 1:30. We'll be having, every other Wednesday, we'll be having a group coaching call. And I need you to be part of that and participate in that, because your participation opens other women. We open each other. So, and in this container, we're going very deep. So that means you're going to be holding more in your body than you're used to. And we'll be giving you strategies and tools to be able to work with your body so that you can start building capacity to hold more. So you can be that woman that I was with my man last weekend, where I just held the capacity for more. And then he was able to rise to the occasion and meet me and celebrate me. So the first temple, each will be like literally held as a temple. We're going to walk in to the structure and the container of a temple. And let's see. The first container is around the feminine art of presence. And that is because when a woman is present for another woman in her vulnerability, her defense of shield begins to drop down. And so be ready to be that vulnerable and that cared for. And if that feels like too much, or you feel like you're someone who wants to be taken care of or fixed, then this isn't for you. If you're someone who is responsible for your body and responsible for your health and responsible for your self, you're a sovereign adult, then this is for you, because you're going to be expected to be sovereign in this process and to communicate and to share and to go deeper to those places where your truth resides. And we're not used to going there. For instance, even right now in your body, imagine yourself being really uncomfortable. What makes you uncomfortable? Maybe someone's yelling at you. Maybe someone that you love is yelling at you. So imagine that someone you love is yelling at you. What do you want to do? Distract yourself, yell back, shut down, run away, cry, go invisible? Yeah, when we go uncomfortable, we disconnect. So in the first portal, we're going to train our systems to go uncomfortable and stay present. And the ways we'll be doing that, you'll feel really good. You'll feel really good, and like a whole new skill set will occur in your nervous system. And then with practice, that will become your new pattern, because that's how your nervous system works. In the second portal, we'll be refining the power of your personal boundaries, how to know them, how to speak them, how to claim them, and how to live them. No more watery, squishy, wishy feminine that doesn't know herself and doesn't know where she stops and somebody else begins, doesn't know when she's being violated, doesn't know when she's violating. The third portal is around beauty. And this is where we begin to really work with your turn on, and we work with like true desire and compensatory desire. So true desire is like what you really, 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 really want. And it's unbridled and it's expansive and it's like outrageous. And it's like, your mind could never, ever, 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 ever figure it out or create it. Ever. Ever. It's beyond your mind. It's your soul and it's your womb coming together and being like, let's make a giant splash with our lives. It's one life. It's not a dress rehearsal. This is it. This is it. What do I want? If I could just create and have anything I want, like, what is my deepest desires? Compensatory desire is like more driven by the masculine, which is like, oh, I want to make a lot of money so I can have a house. I want to make a lot of money so I can buy my kids the schooling that they need. I want to, like, I desire a degree because it will get me to the next level. So compensatory desire is based on like, I want something because of something else. True desire is like what's underneath all of that. Does that make sense? So like, I want money so I can have the house I want, really is, I want freedom to create. I desire freedom to create. Okay, so and when we start connecting with our own beauty and seeing beauty in another, it untrains us from jealousy and competition with other women, which is part of the masculine operating system. And the next portal is around sensation and feeling ourselves and learning, like, how much can we feel? How much sensation can we take before we check out? And so when we're in that portal or in that spiral, it will be very juicy, and you will be learning a lot about where you shut down, where your shut off valves are, your stories around like sensuality and sexuality, where you hold yourself back, where you shut yourself down, where you give yourself less than, where you put on a valve that stops the flow of like your fucking gorgeous beauty, making the world more beautiful, because that is the truth of the feminine, is that your beauty beautifies the world. And so that's why it hurts when you're holding it in, when you're holding it back, when you're covering it up, when you're hiding it. That's why it hurts. And it doesn't just hurt you. It hurts your relationship. Hurts your career. Hurts your health. Hurts your contribution to others. So as we move through that portal of sensation, we start to notice like what we really like to feel. Also, like our womb space is us. And we start to learn like she is an operating system all in of herself. And, you know, is mostly shut down. So like what she wants is also what you want. And what she doesn't want is also what you don't want. And but this thing starts getting all messed up with our culture. Whereas you can go right to your womb space, your yoni, your pussy, you have all of a sudden this portal to absolute truth. And so when that gets turned on, you have access to absolute truth, because what you like, she likes. What you don't like, she doesn't like, right? So for instance, if I was yelling at you and you didn't like it, what would happen down there? She would shut down and dry up. If I was praising you, what would she do? Yeah, she would light up, right? Because you're the same. Your real self, your authentic self, your true self is the same as her. And so when you start listening to her, you start to come into frequency, into entrainment, into coherence with what is really you. And the conditioning of your mind actually becomes the static. The fifth portal, we move into the art of seduction and helping support the natural ability that you have to conjure exactly what you want by seducing what you desire into the world, into being, and using that as a force of attraction. And our final portal together is about rapture. And so in that portal, there's not a lot of words for rapture. Rapture is the experience of being fully taken. So I'll leave that at that. There's two experiences that will be included in Ravenous. One is with my mentor, Perry Chase, who has an incredible stroking practice called Sex Bomb, and will literally, I don't want to give you any details, except it will help you build your capacity and learn about how you experience your up sensations and your down sensations. And most well-trained women have been trained to approve of all of her up emotions and disapprove of all of her darker emotions. So, you know, to really heal the feminine and to really be a leader and a guide in the new world, that has to change. And so I really believe that pulling Sex Bomb into this experience will just knock your socks off. It's incredible. One of the most incredible experiences I've ever had. And we'll also be bringing in S Factor for a sensual movement class with them. And this is all included in your experience. What else did I want to share with you? It's 12 weeks long. Here's your structure. It's 12 weeks long. The live streams and the coaching will all be from 11 till 12:30 on Wednesdays. for 12 weeks, starting, I believe, August 11th. I'll make sure that's posted so you can get that. It's an experience. So you're not going to have a lot of like, none of it is videos or things you have to watch in some place where you're alone. It's all live with me. It's going to be in a live experience. And it's about experience, not about thinking or doing. I will have some homeworks, but the homeworks are only there to ripen more of your deepening. And the homeworks, we will pop into dyads on our calls. Our calls will be really, really alive and present. And so it's not going to be like a talking head. There's going to be, it's very dynamic. It'll be very dynamic, and your participation will be a big part of it. And yeah, I feel like if this is for you, you're a little bit scared. You're a little bit scared, like what's going to happen? I don't know if I want to be uncomfortable. I don't know if I want to know myself. But there's like this deeper calling that's like, yeah, you do. You do, and you always have. And if you trust this container, and you know me, you know I'm gonna hold you with like the most amount of love that I can conjure from the universe to hold this container. You'll be held in that. But you'll also be held in the heat of transformation, holding that heat, holding that fire that is the feminine. We'll have there'll be like a lot of somatic experiences. You can experience the truth in your body. Your body is where we find the truth. We'll be working with the energy field around the body to help the body find its truth, to support that unfolding. So I think that's what I have for today on the Ravenous. I may have some little mini bites coming up as more inspiration comes through me. But just to be clear, it's an experience, and it's a living experience. And you must be ready to want it. You must be ready to want to know your deepest desire and live it in the world. And you must be inspired to know that your sensuality and your experience and your desire is here for you. And the deeper it penetrates you, the bigger impact you actually make on the world just from being you. And so you must also be a holder of that knowing that everyone in your sphere, and everyone in their sphere, and everyone in their sphere, and everyone in their spheres will actually be transformed through the cauldron of your own transformation as it penetrates out into the field around you and everyone that you love. So you must be willing to hold the change that you'll be making in the world through your commitment to yourself. So, yes, in service to the divine, sacred, feminine, ravenous, will be very sexy and very fun and very deep, and you will be called upon to disrobe the defense strategies that you're wearing around you to protect you, and letting them go so that the deeper fire and the deeper flame that is coming through you can be seen and illuminated and illuminate the world. That's what the feminine is here for. That's what you're here for. This is your one life. I'm here for you. I'm here for that. I'm here in service to that deep fire that resides within you, to come through and be seen and transmute this world we're in. Because my daughter is in this world, and your daughters are in this world, and your sisters and mothers and brothers and fathers and family and sons are in this world. And it's our responsibility, our ability to respond, that is going to make the biggest difference. And being able to hold that and have capacity for the change that's coming is vital for your truth and for your life to come through this on the other side vibrant. Okay, that's what I have for you today. Please let me know if you have any questions. Some I'll answer, some I won't. But know, if you're feeling the pull of the frequency of ravenous, just come. Don't let your mind make the decision. I love you.